Listen, thanks for your time, John. I've been doing this
Thank
podcast
you.
for 4 years now, and I never get bored of meeting some of my musical idols. So thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
And oh, there's a dog in the background.
Yeah, that's Penguin. She's actually my sister-in-law's dog. We live in a duplex, so she lives below us.
Oh,
And
cool,
Penguin hangs out up and downstairs. I have another dog too, but I don't know where she is right now. Probably with my wife.
cool. I just got one thing I want to tell you. So the song "Safe Home," right? That you sang on. It's a very special place in my heart for me because when my then girlfriend and I were listening to this song in Paris, it was the first time we went official as a couple. And 10 years later, we're now 10 years married on our anniversary just in June. But I just wanted to say that song is such a special place in my heart. So thank you for creating it.
Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah, it's a great song, and glad you made your 10-year anniversary. That's awesome. My
Thank you.
wife, over 2 decades now, which is cool.
Two
And
decades.
Yeah, I know. And Joey and his wife Tracy, who's by the way president of the record company Metal Blade, is on 3 decades, so they're really kicking ass. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, so yeah, it's a great song, and I always love playing it live and explosive. And thanks.
Yeah. What's the secret to your longevity in marriage then, John?
Kind of like the longevity in the music business, right? Um, I mean, we have a pretty open and honest relationship about everything. We don't lie about anything. We are really straight up, even if it's brutally honest. Usually her being straight up with me and me just going, "Oh no, nah." We have a killer relationship. We're really best of friends and lovers. And I think you need to be friends. I mean, that's a really important part of it. We were friends first, and then we turned into having a romance. But yeah, I think just be straight up is number one. That's what I would say.
Lovely, lovely. Love to hear it. And so obviously we're here to talk about the new band, Category 7.
Right there,
And
Ben, on your TV.
there it is.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm just wondering, you've been in the music business for a long time. I won't put any years on it now. I don't want to say it out loud, but
You
with
can
Armored Saint and Anthrax, obviously. Did you ever think at this stage of your career you'd be starting a new band?
Probably not. For a long time, when I kind of came back to Saint after leaving Anthrax, and we kind of got things going again, but slowly. I was quite happy to just be in that group. And I still am, don't get me wrong. I love everything about Armored Saint as far as what we've done musically. And, we're coming to the UK and Europe in a week and do some dates, and we're excited about it. Um, yeah, I think it really just comes down to whatever it is you do it because you love the music, and there's never any guarantee that whatever you do is going to be successful on any level. So you should be driven by the fact that you like it, right? And that's the case with Category 7. It wasn't something that I was looking to do. As a matter of fact, believe it or not, most of the time in the past, when people are proposing something, I'm trying to come up with a reason of why I want to tell them that I don't want to do it. Um, it's not because I think I'm above anything. It's usually just because it's all daunting somewhat about time and things of that nature usually. But this was really cool. And I was like, okay, it's great. Let me see what I can do with it, and see if it's right for me, see if it's right for me, for them, for me, for all the above. And so I just started writing songs, and the songs kind of developed and they sounded great, and it was kind of undeniable. So it was, at that point, we just kind of wrote more songs, and next thing you know, you have enough that would be for a record, so you might as well put it out. Like, what am I gonna do? Just, hold on to it, and have friends come over when we're drinking and go, hey, let me play this for you. Nobody's heard it, nobody will, but
Yeah.
it's really cool. I feel like I've done that actually in parts of my life, but yeah, it's might as well put it out there. Sometimes when release something, whatever it is, that it goes from this thing that you kind of can cradle and go, this is really great. I know it is, to releasing it to the masses, and then it's up to them whether or not they really like it and how good it is. But I believe in it, and I think right now at this point, everyone seems to the consensus is that it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like I know in the bio that was sent to us, they were saying they had the band, the four other guys, and then they knew they wanted you as a singer. They said like, John is the one we want for this. Was there a lot of persuasion from their end to get you in, or was it fairly? I mean, I know you got sent a few demos and stuff. Were you still a bit on the fence at the time, or was it a fairly straightforward decision?
Well, I think again, it just goes back to, was it something that I wanted to be part of? Did I take the music really? I think that's again the primary thing is do it because you like it and you think it's great and you can contribute something to it. So to me, that was the primary objective. Um, I think that when you whatever it is you're working on, you should be driven by the fact that this is something that is it kind of resides in your soul a little bit, that you can say I really believe in this, and for whatever that is. And I've always felt that way, even when my times in Anthrax, I even had hesitancy joining Anthrax back in the day. It wasn't until I had another conversation with some other people and a couple of friends where they were like, dude, what are you doing? I mean, like, what? And then I was like, yeah, what am I doing? Maybe I should do this. But again, that's probably my own hang up, personal issue. I don't know. The thing with Armored Saints always been is it's like this weird kind of undying loyalty that we have. And, it's like a mob or something. It's weird. But in the end, like I said, you got to be motivated mostly by being supportive of the idea of you liking it. That's really the name of the game.
Yeah, and the thing that struck me on this album was before I pressed play and listened to it, I obviously saw the personnel of the band, and you've got Phil, who's a Machine Head, you've got Chalice Fall, Exodus, Overkill, etc. So there's a bit of a mishmash, if you will, in terms of the music. And obviously, when people get older, um, some people decide to mellow out and sort of, go down different paths and stuff. But from the moment that I hit play on this and that double bass came in, I was like, this is way heavier than I thought. Did it surprise you as well?
I mean, maybe if I think about it more, but obviously as you get older, usually you do mellow. I think you're right with that. It's pretty funny. The last thing you think you're going to do is get heavier.
Yeah.
And for me, it probably is, because Armored Saint has always been more of like a heavy rock, blues, hard rock metal band, and Anthrax, well, Anthrax is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I didn't think about it too much. I think it just comes back to, is it good? That's really the main thing. If it was good, and if it was, look, for instance, I've told a lot of people at the same time of doing this Category 7, I was kind of developing this other project, which is like a blues country rock and roll thing. And ironically enough, the guitar player of that project, his name is Tara Novik, and he's a friend of mine. Well, he was actually more just an acquaintance of mine, but we always talked about getting together. He's a really talented guy. He's actually rooted in rockabilly. That's his kind of his niche. And he has a home studio. We have a mutual friend of his girlfriend actually works with my wife at our casting studio. So that was our connection. And I'm technically just an idiot. So I couldn't really, when I got these demo ideas from the Category 7 guys, I tried to record stuff and it just sounded terrible. So I contacted him and I was like, look, will you record me and I'll pay you? And then at the same time, we'll also work on this other thing. And then and he's like, of course. So like one day we would go and work on this. It's called Electric Spaghetti. I do a song with him for Electric Spaghetti. And then we did a demo and it sounded great. And then a couple of days later, I go, okay, I have a Category 7 song I wrote. I'm ready to record that. So I'd go to his house, and it was great because he is not in the metal world at all. He is like comes from a whole different, musical genre and his roots. And he was like flipping out over this stuff. He's like, dude, this is so heavy. This is killer. And I was like, yeah. And he was the first person to hear any of the vocals I did because, once we finished it, I would send it to the guys. So it was really cool to kind of develop these two things at the same time, very different. Probably wrote about 18 to 20 songs over the course of 8 months. And I think it was just helping me as to be a writer, to kind of pursue something that is a little different, even though Category 7 is metal, without a doubt. But by doing these two things kind of simultaneous, it really just it just kind of helped me as being a songwriter and a singer. And it was just kind of funny how it just kind of developed naturally. So um, I guess my point is that I think it's just about whatever you like and really believing it. It just so happens that this is heavier maybe than anything I've ever done.
Yeah.
There's some Anthrax songs that can compete, and even Spineless from Saints pretty damn heavy, but Madhouse. But it's like it's just about the quality. This is what that's the summary of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And when you were in the studio with your friend who is a non-metalhead, did he, when you were recording the vocals, whatever, did he sort of have any, did he give you any maybe tips, like in, coming from a non-metal ear to say, oh, well, why don't you try this melody or something like that? I don't know.
He did, not necessarily, very specific about stuff, but he's a musician and I respected what he had to say if he had something that I thought was cool. Maybe like there was a bridge in a song that I was unsure about what to do. And so I bounced some ideas off him, and he was actually very helpful with that. So yeah, it was really it was just a real step-by-step basis by doing this, and working with him in his apartment in Hollywood and Beechwood in the hills, and his like we had to kind of wait till the construction of the place next door was taking a break and then try to get some in. It was real fun. It was a cool thing to work with someone different, and that's the same thing with the guys in Category 7 is that you're working with different people, and I always say that I try to hope that working with different people brings out something different in me. The relationship I have with Joey Vera is we are linked together. I mean, we are brothers when we come to write, we come to work. We're usually extremely in cahoots about everything, and our relationship has just been so solid through the years, in particular the last 20 years. So that's just a given. It's a natural. It's always there. Even when we don't completely agree on some business aspects or some other things, ironically enough, when we get together and work on music, we're always pretty much seeing things eye to eye. So my relationship with Joey is just solid as hell, and that's always going to be there. But I was working with different people, and it'd be curious to see how that would go. And it actually went really well, and I was happy for myself, and happy to know that I'm able to work with different people as well as have other people bring something else out in me.
Yeah, because that was one thing as well that I was curious about. As I said at the start, you collectively as a band, I mean, between you, how many years in the music business? Again, I'm not trying to out your age or put a number on you, but
Okay.
but I mean, between numerous studio albums, playing live around the world, and each one of these members of Category 7 are quality musicians. Like, they're really on point, and you sort of wonder, like, when you get into the studio together, is it going to be a seamless project where just everyone knows what they're doing, or is it going to be a massive clash of not egos but opinions to say, no, you're wrong on that and you're wrong on that?
Yeah, I mean, well, you're right. It could be that. It could be a clash. Luckily everybody's kind of veteran guys. There's no like posturing because maybe you're younger and
Yeah.
you have less success than somebody else, so you're trying to get your thing in there. I think everybody's goal was the same. It was just the right stuff that was really cool, and it kind of just happened very easily. Mike and Phil wrote the bulk of the music, and I wrote the bulk of the lyrics and the vocals. But certainly Jason came up with some incredible drumming ideas that were very inspiring, and same with Jack as far as the bass playing goes. And you know, as I've said before, you can put stuff on paper and go, this is a, you know, this is a sure shot here. And then you get into the working environment, and it doesn't work. So, you know, I told somebody earlier on an interview I did, you know, I'm a big sports fan, and so I draw a lot of parallels with the music and sports. And you know, you put together a team, you're like, this team is going to be amazing, you know, and then they go to play, and it's like, it doesn't quite work, you know, because of those various reasons. So everybody has to be in a mindset of compromising, you know, being open-minded about things. You know, those are really important aspects of being in a band, in all capacities. And that's why, you know, it doesn't always work. And that's why a lot of bands have broken up through the years, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it just goes to show we're new with this, you know, so it's all, there's like a honeymoon period, if you will. And we haven't even played live together at all. Like,
Yeah.
we haven't actually even gotten the rehearsal room, all five of us, and played. We made some videos, which are really cool. So, you know, I don't anticipate some big issue, of course, but I mean, we haven't done it. So it'll be interesting when that happens.
Well, I might as well ask the question then that you've just teed up for me. You know, I mean, look, you've mentioned you're on tour with Armored Saint in the next week. Obviously, all the guys are busy; they've got other projects and bands and stuff going on. If the universe aligns correctly, you're hoping to play live with the band. Is that the feel of everyone?
Of course, everybody would like to play some shows, you know, without a doubt. You know, when I hear this stuff live, I'm sure it would be really powerful. I think we're just waiting for the right thing. The record's not even technically out. It comes out on the
Oh yeah,
26th.
oh yeah.
So I mean, yeah, so it's, you know, it's, even though everyone's slightly chomping at the bit, especially people you know, and the business aspect of the band, you know, the reality is, you know, it's not even out yet. So we've released 3 videos. We're going to release a couple more. Um, you know, I honestly don't feel like there's an urgency. You know, the manager of the band may disagree with that, the agent, but you know, I think let it happen, because that's kind of how it happened anyway. It happened in this kind of, you know, I gotta find a different word for the word organic, because it's just I overuse it, and a lot of people do, but still a good description for it, because it was just kind of happened, you know. And you know, it wasn't like we said, we're gonna put this band together with these guys, and we're gonna make a record, and we're gonna go out there and kill. It wasn't like that. It was like, let's just write some songs, and then we'll make if it's great, then maybe we can make a record, you know. And you know, the next step, of course, is playing. So let it all just kind of play out, is what I'm saying. um that's just my view, you know. I mean, I don't think anybody is thinking we're not going to play. But let's play right. Let's not go out there and go, okay, now we're going to go get in a van and, you know, play 10 club shows, and by the end of that we'll know that we really hate each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
let's try to avoid that, actually. So
Is that what you're thinking, like in terms of the level of the live show? Are you thinking club shows, or are you thinking like you could maybe get on a support slot with Judas Priest or something?
I mean, you know, I'll take, you know, as long as it feels right, you know, it doesn't have to
Yeah,
be opening up stadiums, but it should feel right. It should feel, you know, everybody has had a certain level of how they've traveled and toured, you know. I
yeah.
mean, I'm not traveling like the Stones. I never have, but you know, I still, like, it's been a long time since I've been in a van. So you know, I mean, I'm not a snob, but by any means. But at the same time, you know, you want to do it where it's comfortable and you feel like you can give your best performance and you're happy. That's the bottom line. So, you know, I guess we'll see what happens. Like I said, I kind of feel like let's see what it generates. You know, to me, that's the exciting part of it. You know, once the record actually comes out, I mean, people have heard songs, of course, but once the record's fully out, people get to listen to it. You know, metalheads still love to listen to full records, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what happens.
And do you pay any attention to like reviews or comments from people, like be it with I'm saying Anthrax, or when this comes out, are you going to be looking on the, you know, the boards and looking to see what people are saying?
You know, I mean, I guess I'd be lying if I didn't say I want to see what people think. You know, of course you want people to like what you did, and you know, you sort of not put it out and go, this is crap, you know, take a listen to it. I mean, I think of course you're excited about getting people enthusiastic about what you made. And I mean, there's no change with that with us, but I read some stuff today. The manager of the band actually sent a review that was in Decibel magazine
Oh,
here in the States. I guess it's in now. Maybe people read it in Europe as well. But it was great. It was an awesome review, and it was very encouraging to see that. So, you know, a good friend of mine, unfortunately, he's no longer living. He was a buddy of mine for years, and um, we used to, you know, just he kept me real humble, and he's like, you know what they say, man, don't read your own press clippings. And he's like, yeah, you know, he was right. Like, I take it all with a grain of salt. You know, I mean, you again, these days with this thing, this computer world, everybody's a critic, right? So,
exactly.
and everybody can post it. So believe me, you know, for every 10 people that love what you do, there's a couple that, you know, think it sucks, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, what are you gonna do? So I take it all with this like grain of salt.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, my whole thing is if you're gonna bag on what I do, that's fine. Just at least be funny. You got to be funny. You can't just
Okay.
like you better be witty about it. You know, don't just that guy sucks. And it's like, nah, you're an idiot. But like if you say something, even if it's not favorable to what I do, but it's funny, I'll be like, okay, the guy's funny. I may
So,
not
so,
agree, I like it.
so something like they called it category 7, but it's actually category 2.5. Something like
That would be good. See,
that.
would be good. You know, something like that. You know, you got to be witty. You know, so.
Yeah, look, I totally understand because and music's opinionated, isn't it? Like some people like stuff you do, some people don't. You can't win everyone over, and it's the society we live in these days.
Yeah, I mean, nobody, you know, I say that all the time. You know, bottom line is, you know, as far as success, I mean, nobody said it's fair. I mean, that
Mm.
goes for everything in life. I mean, not as much anymore, but I would get that from my kids, which is very normal, and that's not fair. It's like, well, yeah, no, it's not. You know,
Yeah.
no, nothing is fair. So, I mean, you know, it's just the way it is. And when you do something like music, you know, it's not like sports in the sense where there's a winner in games, you know. There's no sure shot that what you do people will love at all. As a matter of fact, you know, through my years in the music business, without sounding too woe is me, the bottom line is most things I've done haven't garnered massive success. So you know, you do it because you love it and you believe in it, and you're not doing it because you're like, hey man, I'm gonna have to sell a million records from this. This is a sure shot. No, you know, so you do it again because you believe in it. And it's a weird thing when you make records or probably anything, any kind of artistic statement, movies, whatever, art. Once you do it, like when you're doing it, whether you're painting something, whether you're, you know, filming something, recording, you're in the moment and you're doing it, you believe in it. And then once you actually let it go, you really do have to do that. You have to let it go. And then you just have to just and that's a real hard thing. I think most probably artists would agree with me that that's the tough part of it because it's no longer your baby. It's now out there. And you
Yeah.
know, you're at the mercy of somebody just going, that stinks, you know, and like, oh, ow. But you just have to take it and move on, you know.
Yeah, yeah. John, look, I know we're running short of time, so I've just got one more question for you, and it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. By the way, it's been really fun. Um, you are coming on tour with Saint in next week or in a week's time.
Yep.
Just want to know, curiously, do you recognise the difference between the UK, Europe, and American crowds when you're playing with Saint? Do you find there's a different shift in the crowds?
Yeah, to some degree. I mean, everybody's culture is a little different, of course. You know, the Germans are different from the Brits. Those the people in the Mediterranean are always, you know, pretty passionate. Different places in America. I mean, there's crowds in America that are great, and there's some that are kind of a little bit docile. Um, you know, I was telling somebody earlier, because I've done a lot of interviews today with people from the UK, and you know, Armored Saint, the first time we ever stepped on British soil was in 1991 when we played the Marquee when Symbol of Salvation came out. So we had put out 3 records, if you want to add the Saints Will Conquer live record. With that, basically 3.5 of records where we never played in Britain and Europe for that matter. And it was really, really, I don't regret a lot of things, but it's still to this point a little bit perturbing to me and the rest of the guys because we were so tailor-made for the European audience. And you know, every time we put out a record, you know, March of the Saint, Delirious Nomad, Raising Fear, we were like, okay, we're going to go to Europe, we're going to kill it, and we didn't, and because of business decisions. And it's something I really regret because I think, you know, we would have been probably bigger in Europe and the UK than we were in the States because it just our sound was right. And I mean, we were on magazine. I was on the cover of Kerrang at one point. You know, I was like, can we go to England because like I'm on the cover of this magazine? No, man, you know, concentrate on the States. It's like, but I'm on the cover of this magazine. Like, what are you doing? So it was very frustrating. And plus, you know, like a lot of people, some of our favorite bands of all time are from, you know, from Britain now, and so it's just the way it is. So it was very annoying, and so I kind of feel like we're always making up for lost time when we come to Europe. We've been since, of course, and since 1991, and we played many shows throughout Europe and in the UK. But you know, it's crazy. It's like we've never played Scandinavia. Never. We played Sweden rock once. We've never done any shows in Denmark, Finland, Norway. We never played like a tour, official tour of like France or Spain. We've done like a couple selected festival shows. We never played Portugal. So it's like it's absurd that Armored Saint has never really played these places in Europe through the years. So it's really annoying. But we, you know, every time we come, we get really enthusiastic because, you know, we love Europe and Britain, and you know, we feel like it's the place where Saint should be. So anyway, I'm always long-winded, so that was a long-winded answer.
It's answered exactly what I was after. John, I thank you so much for your time. It's been a real pleasure chatting to you, and I wish you best of luck on the Category 7 release next Friday. And look out for a witty comment from me about the album.
Cool. Well, thanks for all the support, brother. Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Thanks. Cheers, John. You mind yourself.
Right. Have a great day.
Thanks, and you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.